Hi, my name is Stacy Santen, and in conjunction with the Mountains Sermon Series, I want to share with you about my experience climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Matt and I have been involved with the Young Life Africa Committee for a number of years, and the trip that they're always talking about is climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro is a very high mountain in the country of Tanzania, height being 19,341 feet. And I realize that for some of you, this might be a bucket list item and you would go in a heartbeat. But for some of you, you're probably questioning my sanity. But in July of 2019, in honor of my 50th birthday and my daughter Emily's graduation from college, we set out to climb Kilimanjaro. And to be honest, we had a healthy fear of the mountain, and so we spent a lot of time training, both physically and spiritually. And God was so kind to share this verse with me. It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my way secure. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to stand on the heights. You give me your shield of victory. You stoop down to make me great. You broaden the path before me so that my ankles do not turn. So I knew from the beginning that God would be the one getting me up that mountain. And I decided to keep a journal of my trip and all the things that God taught me on the mountain. And in my first journal entry, I wrote, "This climb is so far beyond what I'm capable of on my own, so I need you and the power of your name to get me up this mountain. As I say your name in loving trust, make me aware of your presence and your nearness." So the way the climb worked is that it was a 5.5-day ascent and a 1.5-day descent, and we would hike from camp to camp. So each day was literally a new day in the beauty of what we saw. And the best part of it was that we had a porter who would take our duffel bags and hike up to the next camp so that by the time we got there, the porters would have set up our tent and greet us with hot tea and usually singing and dancing. So they were amazing. But each morning I would wake up in my tent and entrust myself and that day to God. I would read from my Jesus Calling devotional, and it would amaze me the words that God gave me. So the second morning on the mountain, this is what it said. "Keep walking with me along the path that I have chosen for you. Your desire to live close to me is a delight to my heart. Together we will forge a path way up the high mountain. Someday you will dance light-footed on the high peaks. All I require of you is to take the next step, clinging to my hand for strength and direction." So those were exactly the words that I needed to hear. And as we would climb, sometimes we would spend it in conversation with other climbers on our team, and sometimes we would walk in silence. And God showed me the joy of community, but He also showed me the joy of just being alone with Him. And I remember the song that kept playing over and over in my playlist was "Come to the Altar." And the words that stood out, "Have you come to the end of yourself? Do you thirst for a drink from the well? Jesus is calling." So fast forward to summit night, and I knew why He gave me those words. So let me paint the picture of summit night. We arrived at Barafu Camp, which was a little over 15,000 feet, in the late afternoon. And we had an early dinner and then were sent to our tents to rest. So at 11:15, our guides woke us up and we began putting on every single bit of our clothing. And we began the summit climb at midnight. So at this point, I was feeling okay, but by the first break, I was starting to feel woozy and dizzy. And I had to keep stopping and breathing because I thought I was going to faint. And at this point, the tube to my camelback water froze, so I didn't have any water. Clearly, this is not a pretty picture. Then my beloved porter mountain lion took my pack and we began one foot in front of the other, together, step by step, breath by breath. Finally, we arrived at Stella Point, which I thought might be the summit, but no. And I was feeling horrible at this point. I drank some ginger tea and sucked down this energy goo. And I later found out that it was negative 24 degrees at Stella. And had I known that, I might have turned back, but I was almost to the summit and I was not going to turn back. So our group trudged up that last hour together, and I'm sure we looked like the Walking Dead. But as we crested the summit, there was the sunrise, and there was the sign announcing that yes, we had made it to the summit of Kilimanjaro, the roof of Africa. We still had a 9-hour descent that day, and I still felt nasty, but we did it. God and I did it. Step by step, we did it. And as I look back over the journal on a page that I entitled Mountain Musings, I see that there are so many similarities to what we're enduring now. Fear of the unknown. I truly didn't know what lay ahead, but I remember writing in my journal, desperation can lead to freaking out or to deep dependence on God and His plans. Level of preparation. We trained, we drank water, we ate the right foods, but in the end, it was God who got me up that mountain. We do our part, but we have to trust that God is at work doing His part. God's favor protects us. I am such a klutz, and there were so many times I could have fallen and really injured myself. I truly had no idea what God protected me from when I was on that climb, but I look back now and I am amazed at His favor over me. He is protecting us. Pole pole, it's the Swahili word for slowly, slowly, and that's the pace we went up that mountain. So let's allow this time of God slowing us down to truly enjoy Him and to enjoy others. Let's use this time to seek Him and to be on the lookout for opportunities He gives us to be His hands and His feet in this world. Pamoja, pamoja, it's the Swahili word for together, together. We are in this thing together. We can say yes when someone offers to help us in whatever situation we're in, or we can live in self-sufficiency and pride and miss out on allowing others to help us. I could not have made it up Kilimanjaro without the help of my faithful porter mountain lion. So say help and receive help when you need it. Summit day. As I look back now, I understand the reasons we started summiting at midnight. All I had was a headlamp, and all I could see was one step in front of me. If I had seen the big picture and known that it was 6 more hours of trudging up that mountain in negative-degree weather, I would have quit. God has something for us in the step-by-step. We have lots of choices. Being in the middle of uncertainty or struggle causes us to make choices. We can hold unswervingly to Jesus, or we can allow circumstances to rob us of our joy. We can enjoy the beauty of our surroundings, or we can live distracted. We can live step by step, or we can constantly look ahead for the next thing. We can embrace what God is doing in this, or we can live crippled by fear of the unknown. So that's my story. I'm thankful that God is using the lessons He taught me on Kilimanjaro to carry me through this time of uncertainty and to remind me that He is always, always at work.